we're good to go, Mrs. Long.
Have a motion?
Make a session, and I don't know the time. At 6:29.
Do I have a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Lee Sinigini and a second by Ms. Sarah Adson to come out of executive session at 6:29. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, motion passes. Navajo.
Item B1, discussion and possible action regarding the terms of Superintendent Terry Mauer's administrative reassignment. Item B2, discussion and possible action to review and possibly approve a contract addendum for acting superintendent Charlene Navajo.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to continue the reassignment to home of the Dr. Terry Mauer under the conditions set forth from the board. And the reassignment will continue to where he remains at home in Tuba City.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, do I have a second to that motion?
I second it.
Okay. A motion's been made by Mr. Ronald Begay to continue Superintendent Terry Mauer's administrative reassignment to home until, under the same terms and conditions until further notice from the governing board. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion on B2. I make a motion to approve the addendum for Ms. Charlene Navajo as prepared by Legal Services with all provisions remaining the same.
I second that motion. I have a motion from Mr. Lee Sinigini and a second by myself, Harriet Sloan, to approve the contract addendum for Charlene Navajo as acting superintendent with all provisions until further notice. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Aye. Any nays? Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you. Item C, action items, personnel, discussion and possible action to approve and accept school calendar for school year 22-23. Item C2, discussion and possible action to approve and accept projected salary schedule for TCUSD classified staff for school year 2022 to 23. Item C3, discussion and possible action to approve and accept projected salary schedule for TCUSD certified staff for SY 22-23. Item C4, discussion and possible action to approve and accept one-step increase for TCUSD certified teachers according to the projected certified salary schedule for the SY 22-23.
Madam President, I'd like to address these items separately.
I would like to get a copy of the salary scales that we're talking about.
Just the projected ones or the old one that
We're talking about 3 or 4 different ones, right?
Do you want to compare them to the old one or just the new one? You want the new one?
mo-
No, just the one that's on the.
I actually had it
Uh,
already.
while we're getting documents, are there any questions from any of the other members?
Are we going to discuss this before, each vote, or do you want to discuss it now for all the items?
No, we're gonna discuss it, I think, for each item separately. That was the request from Mr. Ronald Pagin.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Short calendar.
Do you want the calendar?
Okay, I'll open up,
Mr. Pagin?
yes, I'll open up discussion for item C1. We have our school district calendar, and I know we went over this during our board retreat. And thank you to the administration for putting together some samples. But this one here that's being presented now is a professional development every other Friday. Is that correct?
Yes. Except on the weeks that we have the parent-teacher conferences.
Okay. And then on the 180 days, school days, and 185 teacher days, does 185 teacher days, does that include under these new contracts that we're gonna be approving? Is that including the start date of July 26th?
Yes.
And ending on, the last day is, last day for teachers is May 26th.
Second.
Or 26.
I have, well, if I look at the calendar, it's got last day for teachers is 185 days on May 26th. Okay,
Yeah, it's May 22nd.
May,
They have 4 days at the beginning and then they have 1 day after the students leave.
okay, so that will make the 5 days of the 180 days.
The
Right.
185 days for the.
100, yeah, so you total that. Okay, so I guess we have an error on the calendar. It should be, last day of school for teachers should be the 22nd.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make one more comment. We talked about this at our board retreat extensively on the position of professional development. And there were two options that were given to us. One was every other Wednesday, and then the other one was every Friday. But, you know, in conversation with the principals, they felt that, you know, it was better to have it every Friday. However, I like this calendar if it's every other Friday. One of the concerns that was brought up by one of the board members is that, you know, on Fridays, a lot of people want to leave. So they want to take leave on those Fridays. And so with alternating it like this, it'll give an opportunity for those staff to be able to take off on Fridays. So that's where that one's at. And all of this for professional development, in our minds as board members, the purpose of this is to work with the administration, to work with the teachers, the staff. And this is all to reach our goal to ensure that our students are gonna meet their, that are gonna be performing well. So, anyways, so I have no further comment, Madam President.
Mr. Senajani?
Just want to make it. Last day for teachers is the 22nd, not the 26th, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then everything else looks okay.
Okay, Ms. Totocini? Dadson?
I don't have any questions, just, what was reiterated earlier, which is changing that last day for teachers.
don't know, my computer, and it keeps getting stuck and I can't unmute it, so it just takes a while. Yeah, I'm trying to add up your dates here, make sure they're correct. I'm glad you pointed that out on the May. I don't know, we need to look at this carefully. I know that they're asking for us to approve this, but can we be given a date or, because this is not the one that was presented. I think this was one of the calendar that was presented, because I see it was on Friday for the professional development, but for us to just look at it and approve it, unless we approve it tonight, but with, some corrections, I don't know if the total dates for these quarters are correct either, because on the old calendar that was given to us over the weekend, everything was off. The third quarter, the second quarter, those totals were different. And I don't know if they've been corrected. It's not enough time to be adding the days because there's too many colors in here. But, that's the only thing I have on this calendar. We can approve it, but we have to make some kind of statement if there's any errors that we need to correct them.
I think we always have that opportunity in the event that there is something that we overlook. But, I think administration looked at this calendar very carefully. And, what we have before us is what they came up with, and I think it does add up. The 180 days for students. Yes,
I do have a question. I know on one of the calendars, they did look at, there was something in there for first day for new teachers to kind of give them like an induction, time for new teachers. I believe that one would be like a supplement or an addendum to the original contract. I don't know if that's something we want to take into consideration as to when new teachers can come in and start, and they'll have induction as far as lesson plans, their classroom preparation, that type of information.
good information, Ms. Addison. Ms. Navajo?
That is great information, and that would help our new teachers acclimate themselves to how we do things in Tuba City. So that will be taken into consideration.
Can we clarify that?
All right,
Sorry, I just got one comment to that, Madam President, can we clarify that 26th, the first day for teachers? And put, first day, well, no, where's that one?
When Mrs. Addison's
Yeah,
asking,
you
is
missed
that-
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I think she's asking that we add additional days for new teachers so that we can, prepare them.
Add additional days?
Yeah,
Just for new teachers,
just for new teachers.
maybe through an addendum.
How many days?
New teacher, getting them ready 2 to 3 days?
Is that gonna be a beyond contract,
Yes.
I would just recommend 2 days, since there are already 4 days built into this calendar for new and returning teachers.
Do 2 days.
yeah, I think it's an opportunity for them to get information, in regard to that employee handbook, to have time to cover that, as well as, get oriented to the school building and the campuses that they're going to be working in. So I see it as a good thing to maybe come in 2 days.
Let's see.
Sure. I'll agree with 2 days.
Okay. All right. Is there any further discussion on this item?
No.
Hearing none. Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve item C1, the school calendar as presented with the following comments. One is to change, correct the date of the last day for teachers to the 22nd, and also to incorporate 2 additional days for new hires, and that will be addressed under beyond contract for the district.
I'll
Do
second
I
that.
have a second to that motion? Okay,
I'll second.
Mr. Ronald Begay, okay, Mr. Ronald Begay has made a motion to accept the present calendar recommendation with the addition of 2 days for beyond contract for new hires. And the correction of the last day, was that by Ms. Sarah okay. Seconded by Ms. Sarah Adson. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5 ayes, motion carries. Thank you.
I just want to make one additional comment. I know it's not going to be entered in record, but I just want you to note it. I'd like for you guys to scrub that calendar, make sure we're accurate on the days. All right? So,
I think, in the past, we've been given, like, it's kind of been broken down by the month, now meeting in August, September, October, then add the 10 months together, so that we come out with 180 days.
Item C2, discussion and possible action to approve and accept projected salary schedule for 2 CUSD classified staff for SY 22-23.
Madam President, I'd like to enter into comment this particular agenda item. I just wanted to get a further understanding as I looked at I printed out the previous salary scale that was effective July 1st, 2020. I believe that's what we're operating off of. So I just want to take an example of a maintenance helper, a labor/maintenance helper. On the first step, under column 1, their previous pay was $12.29. Now, under this new, this recommended, where'd it go? Under this recommendation for classified salaries, that amount goes to $15 an hour. So that's about a $2 and some odd cent increase in their pay. So, basically, I think I kind of took some numbers and ran them across the tables, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're increasing about, on average, probably about $2.65 or so to each one of these positions, which I don't have a problem with that. What I do have a question on is a person, a staff member that has already been in one of these positions, and I'll pick a position, say property control inventory clerk. Currently, if they are at, they were hired as a, and where is it at? It's not on this one. It's not on this. Is this one a new one? Oh, never mind. It's right there. If they were in column 2, step 1 at 1244. So they're basically going to be moved up to 1528, regardless of how long they've been in with the district. I mean, if they were here for 10 years and they started out at a dollar amount and they were not given the opportunity to move up.
Yeah, there are some employees that have been here for a number of years, and there's a few years where the district hasn't, provided raises and those staff were frozen. And we do have some instances where they've been here over 10 years and, you know, maybe a new employee starts and there is some discrepancies about them making more hourly. So there are not many employees in that situation, but there are a few. And I know that that's something that we want to address by going back and looking at how many employees we have in that situation. So I know that was something that we talked about over the weekend, because we want to make sure that our staff that do stay here and continue with the district, we do want to make sure that they make, you know, a good living. So I know that's something that we talked about over the weekend.
Okay. And I just want to add to it that, looking at the labor maintenance helper position, we have them going from step 1 all the way to step 17. Somewhere along the way, shouldn't that helper be given the opportunity to move down to step 2? To say a maintenance worker with 1 to 2, 3 years experience of construction and move down, instead of staying at these current rates all the way. I guess my question is, they started off at $15 an hour, you know, 5 years later, they're still at $15 an hour. Is there any consideration being given for that labor who stayed those many years, as, you know, as pay is going up for everybody else, but this one individual is staying at that level? Is there some kind of advancement opportunities?
And I believe advancement's based on their certifications, if they obtain more certifications. And I know for like teachers in the classroom, they can move across with their years, their credit hours. But with the maintenance, I believe it's based on certifications, right, Mr. Holiday? If they obtain more certifications, then they're able to move on salary schedule.
Okay. I'll reserve that one for later on, because like I said, I have no opposition to the salary schedule that's being presented. I know that I'm gonna request that we bring this back at a later time under a work study session and really study the intricate matters of this salary scale with respect to the employees that are here. I wanna make sure that our employees
I understand.
are getting treated fairly across the board.
I have a question, it looks like all the beginnings, $15 an hour minimum wage now? No?
No.
Okay, why is, you look at all the, different areas, station warehouse, custodian, construction, they're all 15, and then you go down to security, and they start at 15.56. Why is that?
At the recommendation of the business manager and also with Charlene, the idea was to do the increases of 15.5% at every level. So we referred back to the old salary schedule and just added 15.5% to whatever is already existing. So we don't want to bring anybody back or bring anybody down. We want to keep everyone the same, but do the increase of 15.5%. That's why you see that change. Why some are starting higher than others.
Because they were starting at a higher dollar amount to begin with,
Yes.
under the old salary schedule. But there's two things that we have to consider as board members. We've got Coconino County wage rates that are increasing. I think they're topping out in 2022, where I believe the minimum wage in Coconino County is supposed to go to $5.50.
Yeah.
50/50, and are we under that jurisdiction to have to raise our minimum wage, or at least the minimum? Huh?
Just under the state of Arizona.
Just under state of Arizona, but not Coconino County, even though we're in Coconino County? Okay, that's good to know, because Prop 206 comes into effect then, because Prop 206, I think they stopped at what, 12.50? But then they also put a little comment in there that you raise your minimum wage accordingly following those years for cost of living or something like that. Yeah. So, okay.
What is this position under AV technician, the printer? Is there anybody in that position right now?
No.
And what would that person be doing?
So, from my understanding from the previous salary schedule, there were several schedules that were made for specific people who were hired for those positions. And I think that was one of the positions that was hired, so made specifically for one person. And I don't know who that person is.
Can we drop that back down to 15 like rest, I wonder?
We could just take it off the salary schedule if you like.
We can
Take it off.
person done, you know, have some things.
If anything, that position would probably fall under the technology.
Back in the day, remember they used to have that printer shop back
Yep.
there, and they used to print out stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and if you wanted like curriculum, a teacher wanted, their curriculum. I think they used a print shop for that.
And to print out leaflets and put the edge pointing on them.
Know that you spell superintendent, like soup, S-O-U-P?
That was already spelled. I thought I corrected it, but for some reason, the working with this spreadsheet is kind of tricky. Like you put a number in one area, then it corrects in another area, and it just kind of, the spreadsheet itself is kind of linked to another spreadsheet. So we're kind of fiddling with it. That was one of the things that we've noticed as well.
Yeah.
And we can fix it.
Okay, Preston, I have a question for you. Preston, on, getting back to the question that Mr. Begay had regarding, I guess getting additional certification, do our, our classified staff, I know the ones that work as, teacher aides, they participate in the, professional development. Do our other staff, do they participate? Do they have scheduled professional development? And would that be an opportunity for them to, get the step increase if they completed so much time?
Mainly, I think it would come to certifications, like if say an instructional assistant has gets a bachelor's degree. In that sense, we could definitely consider the increase, but it's all approval from the board. We can recommend it, it'd be up to the board to approve it.
I think also we have to go back and look at the policy too. See what the policy says on that, because at one time, I had a staff member who had complete, credits.
We've got people on Zoom, so they need to hear you. The business manager is gonna speak, Ariel.
I was just saying, I think for
Okay.
the step increase for the classifieds, we also need to go back and look at the policy. Because at one time, I did have a staff member in my department who had completed an AA. And I did try and advocate for them to get a step increase, and we were denied that. And I'm not sure if it was because of policy or what, but that would be one thing we would have to look at is a policy and change that to give,
Okay.
a step increase.
Ms. Lowe? There is
Yes.
policy in
Okay.
place there is policy in place for professional development, basically professional development growth for classified and certified. If it's followed accurately, then I don't see why that type of request would not, have been approved. However, with that said, what's done in the past with those professional development, using towards salary growth, say like, classified and certified, you do have to have prior approval. However, there are circumstances, like right now, no one's really followed through with that. If those forms are accurately filled out and put in personnel
policy that that is where we go with, approving salary increases?
For the teachers, there's
The I believe it's policy IPD, I wanna say, but it's the IPD. The IPD committee does have, we don't have one in place right now, but that's how the teachers can move on the salary schedule. The practice has been the last few years is that teachers would turn in their official transcripts after they obtain maybe 15 credit hours or their masters, and then they would submit a request to move on the pay scale. But the policy does state that they have to have approval of the IPD committee. They have to submit their transcript by a certain time. The classes that are approved by the IPD committee are the ones that are considered for the salary increase. And I believe that policy was put in place because it's a budgetary issue. So we have 10 teachers that go get their masters and they come back in September and they all have their masters, then the district has to figure out how to afford the salary increases. So there is a policy in place for the teachers to move on the pay scale.
The courses, the request for salary growth is due to the district office by May 15th. Any classes that they take over the summer into the next year would have to wait for the following school year. So those employees who are requesting for a salary growth, as far as the certified employees, have till May 15th to turn in all their documents. And then their contracts would come back before the board for, to take those, hours into consideration and to move on the salary schedule.
I think in the past, they've
Oh,
allowed,
no,
them, cause they finish their summer school, the first week or two of August, and then the transcripts come out. I think, they have allowed movement on the salary scale, as long as, when they bring it in, and the change has been made in August, September, after they get their transcripts. I think that's the way that, past superintendents handle this, and school boards. And if we had to change the policy, we could look into that. I'm for, if they're moving on the salary scale horizontally, and get a bachelor's degree, then I think we should, pay them.
Okay,
But if it's not written that way in the policy, we can, look at it.
well, it says, May 15th, you should have your, all your documents and everything ordered, but if you didn't have prior approval, you can still submit your documents by September 1st, and then that could be taken into consideration for salary growth for the current school year. The only thing that kind of, like in Ms. Navajo was saying, or I don't know who was speaking earlier about it being denied is, it says that it's received by the committee. Now, when we're talking about committee, I think something like this should be at the discretion of the HR director and the superintendent, because if you for a committee, there's always gonna be, over discussion. So if we could just change that in policy to say that, it'll be at the discretion of, the HR and the superintendent, that would help.
You know, I haven't even, I don't think there has been in existence for a long time. So like your idea of letting the HR and the superintendent handle that at the HR resource office, I think that would be
Ms. Lowe?
good.
Yes.
Could we ask Amy to, or Ms. Navajo to, send a copy of the professional staff, the salary growth, I think it's, GCI, and then, the one for the classified employees, so that we as board members can review it and make any type of recommendations that are needed? Thank you.
yes, that would be good.
We will send it, Mrs. Atson.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay,
I'd like the motion
I just
to,
have one more,
go ahead.
I just have one more comment. So on this current recommendation, what they're asking for is to approve the new salary schedule and then also to, approve a step increase. That's what it's asking for.
No, this is item C2, which is the salary schedule for classified staff.
Well, that's exactly what it says. Increase is 15.5% at each level, step for each position. I don't understand what it means when it
Yeah,
says step for each position.
They took each position on this chart and they added 15.5% to it. And they came up with a new value. That's what they're referring to.
Yeah, I get that, but, I mean, for me, the way I read it, it says step for each position. What I'm looking at is, if you are being paid at, for example, step, level 1, step 2, the way I'm reading this, it means level 2, so they would go from level 1 to step 3. That's how I'm reading it, but I might be reading too much into it. Can, Mr. Holiday clarify that?
So the step increase is only applying to the certified staff, and then this one, on the classified staff schedule, I was just referring to each position as that level and that step. It wasn't saying an additional step for these specific positions. So it's just kind of saying level 3, step 3. That position is going to be a 15.5% increase is going to be applied to that particular cell. And the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay,
That's what I was
thank you.
meaning. Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Ms. Toda before we, Ms. Toda
Yes.
do you have any comments or questions?
So, so just make sure that when we make the motion, there's no increase indicated in the motion. Also too, when we talked over the weekend, I know that, we talked about how are we getting the rest of the staff to, up to this salary scale. We keep increasing the salary scale, and then the new hires make more money coming in. Have we addressed that issue? I think I need that addressed before we can approve this.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
If employees feel like they, want to take their current position and take into consideration their years of service and maybe education for classified and certified, to follow the salary growth process for both positions, they have to take the initiative to do that. They have to come before human resource and then human resource committee with the superintendent to make that decision. But if you're not making those initiatives, it's, you know, we're not gonna be able to go out and, address every single person. So depending on what the policy says for each, you know, Ms. Navajo could always make a recommendation to her staff. You know, if you feel you need to take these years of service and these, education credits into consideration, then they would go through the process of doing that.
Ms. Sloan, I remember this, it was brought up at a board retreat, and the thing was that some of the directors and even teachers, coming in, maybe a director would come in at 72 to 75,000. And we have other people, principals, been here for 10, 15 years, and they're only at 75, 76,000. That was, that was the concern that, I thought I heard. I don't know how, and I don't have any suggestions to solve that. Yeah, when we keep
Yes,
moving the salary scale up, that creates that problem.
Yes, I think that was what I also heard. And, Ms. Potachitney, you had something to add?
Maybe, I mean, the board is not here to come up with all the solutions. However, maybe we can refer it back to the administration, the superintendent, so they could brainstorm on this. And I understand what Ms. Anson is explaining, however, if that's the case, then, maybe, we do need to address a policy on it. Or amend the policy, something. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think that, Ms. Navajo, if we could have you, I think there was a request from Ms. Adson to receive the policies regarding, salary and, professional growth. Get those items and review them. And, if there isn't any more discussion, do I have a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion on item C2 with the following comments. My motion is to approve item C2 as presented with the following comments. That the administration, that we reevaluate this salary schedule, classified salary schedule by January 2023 at a duly called meeting by the board. That's my first comment. Second one is to reevaluate, this is for administration to reevaluate current staff hourly rate inequities and come up with a solution to address that. I guess you got the third comment, that's to add
Send the policy.
look at policies for staff growth, because, so that's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second to Mr. Begay's motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Ronald Begay to, approve item B2 or C2. Okay, with the following recommendations that admit that the administration reevaluate by January 23rd, the salary schedule. And that also that current staff inequities, be looked at and a report brought to the board. And that we also take a look at the, review the policy on staff development and salary. There's this motion was seconded by Ms. Joanne Totachitney. Call for the vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. We have 5 ayes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C3, discussion. Item C3, discussion and possible action to approve and accept projected salary schedule for TCSD certified staff for SY 2022, 2023.
Madam President, I'd like to open up for comment and for clarification. I want to get a further understanding on this. Let me get onto that schedule. And that goes to the earlier comment made by our board member Adson, Sarah Adson. Okay, there's two versions of a salary schedule that we're going to address. One that has, the first one has the bachelor's in one column, and the bachelor's plus 15, plus 30, plus 45, then your master's, so on and so forth. The second one has the version 2, which is the AA column, and it just has one salary all the way down in that column. Then you go to the BA bachelor's under, we call it's A, it should be step 1. Under the bachelor's, we have the same amount, the same salary amount as the AA. Why is that? Couldn't we at least offer a little bit more money incentive for somebody with an AA to, to go into a bachelor's program and be able to maybe work to get a little bit more money? I mean, that's kind of an incentive, that's what I see. But I don't see the relevancy in having 46,000 all the way down the column under AA. I think the point is that no matter what schedule we go off of, they're still going to get the same paid amount. I think that's the message. That's the implied message to the individual who still has an AA. So everybody else can progress into the steps and go down, but their salary is going to stay the same. The AA person. So I don't know what the relevancy is in that. That's what I see. So that's the first question I have. The second one is I took an agenda item that we had approved back in January. There was a contract. There was a horizontal salary advancement, and in this one, going off the old salary, we had an elementary school teacher whose salary was originally approved at $47,208. That's the base salary, or that's the bachelor. I think the base salary on the previous schedule. They got their BA, they got their bachelor's, plus they had the 45 credit hours towards their math. No, they got their master's. Actually, got their master's. So they moved up. They did a horizontal advancement, and it went to $50,973. No problem there. But under this new salary schedule, either one, the same individual is going to be given an additional $3,044 under the new contract. Because if I read the BA plus 45 under this new schedule, it's going to be at least $54,017 because they were at the F column or the F schedule, which back then I don't have the old schedule, but they had a different number. But I'm sorry, $50,973. So now with this one, with this schedule, we're doing F. I'll take the same individual, and if we keep the same step, their salary is going to increase to $54,017, which is an increase of $3,044. Then there's a further agenda item where you're asking for a one-step increase, which will put that individual at $54,778. So, I guess that is okay. I wanted to get that clear because that's the intent.
Yes.
So the teachers, in essence, are going to get a $3,000 raise. I mean, the certified staff.
Yeah.
So, okay. But again, the part about the two versions, I would rather just keep the first version that has a step for the BA. And I don't know, do we have a category for AA? Do we have some certified staff that have just AA degrees?
When we do have individuals that can go through the Navajo Nation to obtain a teaching certificate for Navajo. And they're given the teaching certificate, and they can have an associate's degree when they take the test.
Mhm.
So the intention of having that column is, yes, we want the individuals that pass their tests that can be Navajo language teachers, but we also want to encourage them to go and get their bachelor's. Because when you do a bachelor's in education, you obtain, the tools you need, the pedagogy to be a teacher, and that's what we want to encourage. So, there are individuals, for whatever reason, they may be able to get the certification, and they might not be able to, they might just think, okay, year to year, they might not be able to finish a bachelor's degree. And we want to reward our teachers that, obtain a bachelor's and continue with their education. So that's the reason for kind of having it kind of go down. So that it was kind of like an incentive. And I think we talked about that this weekend. We want it to be an incentive for them to get onto the other side of, to the next column, so, they can and pay.
So, and then that goes into the subject matter of the bachelor's, the individual under the bachelor's, at the first column A, Schedule A, or Step A, is the same salary as
Yes,
the person
yes,
at A is.
yes.
And I kind of think maybe that should be changed a little bit to maybe,
Higher.
Higher, maybe
Okay.
about $200 higher or something.
Okay.
That would give an incentive for a person who's got an
First
A, B,
column.
degree to want to get a BA, bachelor's. And one last comment, I compared, I went across the school districts. And maybe this is kind of hindering our growth, I don't know, I don't know, I'm not, I didn't go through a full college, I only went to junior college level. So. But I look at all the other, schools, and on their salaries, they have BA plus 12, BA plus 24, BA plus 36. But with us, we have BA plus 15, BA plus 30, BA plus 45. I mean, carrying 12 credit hours in any school, college, is considered full-time. Why do we want to go 15 when that's a little bit extra? And I know there's a lot of students that struggle carrying 12 credit hours in school.
So after you obtain your bachelor's degree, when I believe when you go to graduate school, you can, I think it is 9 credit hours is considered full-time.
Okay,
So
so do we reduce that down?
we can. This is something that previous has been since even before I was hired with this district, it's been 15 credit hours.
Yeah.
So that it's something that we can look at and we can make changes to.
Yeah, Chimley does it, Kienta does it, and I didn't get a chance to look at Page. Oh, Ganado, I don't know, Ganado's salary thing was kind of.
Window Rock,
Yeah, Winter Rock does it.
I believe when we're at this 15, because we pull theirs.
no, Window Rock doesn't. No, they don't. Theirs is at 15.
Yeah. Theirs is
Yeah.
15.
So I guess the question is, why are we keeping it at 15 instead of going to 12 like the other? I mean, would that make a difference? Would that make a difference for an individual who wants to go get a degree, get their bachelor's degree, and have to carry a minimum of 15 credit hours? Sorry to rephrase that. They got their bachelor's and they're going for their master's, and they have to sign up for 15 credit hours.
It takes more than just one summer to get 15 hours, or even 12 hours. It's been this way, and I don't see anything wrong with the way it's done this way. It might take 4 or 5 summers to get 15 hours, depending on money and stuff. Family.
I don't know, I'm just looking out for the,
Maybe the logic is summer 3, you have 2 sessions, 3 and 3 is 9, and then if you go maybe,
But we can look at it, and we can look at, that's the board's wishes to, for us to lower the number of credit hours to move across, then that's something we can do.
I like to see that, I like to look at, see that, see. how that would help our current staff who want to go into a graduate program, you know, to get their bachelor's, and even work towards their master's, make it a little bit easier on credit hours, because it does have an incentive of pay, so, you know,
Yeah, well, a long time ago, I think they gave you, what, 5 years or 6 years to get your degree? 5 years?
To get a master's.
Yeah. Yeah, once you start, you have 5 years to get it.
I think so, yeah.
From the university?
Yeah, from university. Okay, but now I think they changed it, you can take forever, from what I understand.
and I just have one more
Okay.
comment. I have one more comment before I turn it over to the board. I was looking at the bottom of the notes, and I'm gonna go through the notes. It says entry-level teacher salary with no experience will be placed on a BA/A on the salary schedule. Now, entry-level teacher salary with no experience, that's someone coming out of college and being placed here, all right? Newly hired will be credited up to 5 years of experience and be placed on step 6. There's no step 6 on this chart, by the way, it's all letters. So, okay, on that note, if we have a teacher that was teaching in Flagstaff for, I don't know, 5 years, then came here, does that mean that the district is granting that teacher an additional 5 years? And then putting them on a higher step?
Yes.
They will get 5 years,
5 years, and, but,
depending on where they're at. If they have only a bachelor's, then they'll get BA plus 5 years.
plus 5 years, and that'll put them down at, okay. that's
Step
what-
5.
So, is that fair? Is that fair to the district?
That's a policy.
Is that policy?
It's
Okay,
all,
If they've worked 10 years in Flagstaff and come to us, they can only start at step 6. They lose the 4 years coming here.
is that,
Because
okay,
of the policy, they only get 5 years.
okay, I see what you're saying, all right, I understand a little bit better. The other one is, staff at the upper limit of the schedule are not eligible for, and that should be an, not and, for an additional step increase. So basically, if they run out,
That's at the bottom.
that's the bottom, that's it, that's where they're capped off. Okay. All right, anyways, okay, those were clarifications that I really corrected and to end.
Okay.
All right,
okay, Mr. Sinajini, comments?
I have no problem with this. I didn't understand, what he wanted to do on the AA. The ABC column with additional $200.
that's on the BA, on the bachelor's.
Yeah, he wants to increase the pay for the BA person by $200.
It's already increased.
We could decrease the AA by 200.
Every cell has an increase of 7.1.
What are the current salaries for the AA staff right now?
That's the highest that you could go with an A.
But you want to increase the BA by 200, not 750?
Like, at least higher than the AA column?
Yeah.
46,447, but I'm hearing that it's gonna mess up the formula if we have
We
to.
could decrease the AA by like $100.
Okay, I get what you're saying. If they increase that fee level, for BA, they'll have to increase it for the rest of the salary schedule.
And he's also saying that an AA person is going to get as much as a BA person.
So they're saying to lower it by $100.
A little bit.
I would have to agree with Mr. Begay to increase that BA position or salary. But if you, like I said, if you increase that one, you'll have to increase it all the way across. the percentage.
So what the administration is recommending is to reduce the AA column by $100. So instead of 46,447, it'll be 46,347.
That's fine.
That way they don't mess with the rest of the charts.
And we have to keep that column on the salary sheet?
Yeah,
We have to keep the AA on there?
They're recommending,
Remove the scale from B all the way to V. If they'll need to have the 46 repeated all the way down.
Yeah.
And then percentage for the increase for the AA, I recommend utilizing whatever percentage or whatever formula they're already using. And subtract it with that same formula so it doesn't mess up the rest of the spreadsheet. That'll show the decrease. If whatever percentage or dollar amount they're using to decrease, to give the increase on every step, just subtract that for the AA column, and that'll decrease that 46,447.
Okay. Thank you.
And one more comment. So, it says staff at the upper limit of the schedule. What is that? Upper limit of the schedule?
if you look at the salary scale on BA, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it goes from 46 to 50,000. And then you're bottomed out, or they're calling it topped out. And then you need to go back to school and then move over to the next column. Don't go back and get more credit hours. I call it bottom out, but they call it topped out.
so the bottom out is the upper limit.
Bottom out is
They call it upper limit. Yeah, we can just change that verbiage, upper limit, and use the correct terminology. I do agree with, Mr. Begay on this BA plus 15, and then, what Ms. Navajo did, for the master level, it's, for a full term is nine credit hours. So if we can, if they're including 9 credit hours per semester plus the summer term. I don't know if other people take 9 credit hours during the summer, it's not recommended, but that'll be 9 plus 9 is 18, so usually they only recommend like 2 classes for the summer.
I think there's a limit of hours per summer session, the 5 weeks.
Okay, so 9 and 6 is,
Where do you get the
14,
9?
right?
Where do you
Was
get
it
the 9?
15?
It's 15.
Well, that's why I don't take care of numbers. So that's right, that's where the 15 is. So, okay, I agree with that, leave it alone then.
Yeah.
No, but I did send some information to Ms. Navajo and Amy to share with the board.
Thank you. I took the opportunity to get questions on this clarified, so I came away with a better understanding after I could figure out the two salary schedules that we were given, and then also taking a look at the previous schedule that was approved from July 1st, 2021. So it gets, it got very clear. So thank you very much for that work, administration. Can we move to a motion? Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, I want to entertain a motion at this time.
Are we going to either for this?
Either one.
It's
Yeah,
either
two
one.
versions.
Either vote for AA or no AA.
Version 1 or version 2?
For the AEA, if we don't, we had to include them on this, right? I'm going to make a motion to go with the salary scale. It's not labeled 1 or 2 or anything, but the one that has, that includes the AA. Is that 2?
Version 2, yes.
Version 2. And that's my motion.
I second that.
Do I have, okay, I have a motion by Mr. Lee Sinigine to go with, certified salary schedule recommendation number 2, that includes the AA column, seconded by Mr. Ronald Gay. All those, all
Ms.
those in
Long?
favor say aye.
Ms. Lum?
Yes. Yes.
Before we go forward with this, motion or the vote, Mr. Sinigine, we made all these, recommendations to the salary scale. But your motion did not state with all the recommendations noted. So there's changes that has to be made to the scale. If you make a motion, to saying you accept this one, then they're gonna run with it as is. We need to, make those updated
I think
changes.
we're,
Okay, I want to make my motion to, go with the administration recommendation to move to, reduce the AA column by 100, or was it 200? 100. So it would be the same as the VA. Otherwise, except,
Madam President, I'll second that motion, with the added comment that, we reevaluate the credit hours, that are noted of 15 to 30 versus 24. I'd like to see what the differences are on those with other schools. So,
okay, yeah, I have, Jalees Sinigine has amended his vote.
motion,
His motion for certified salary schedule number 2 with, a note to reduce the salary in column A for 8A by $100. Correct?
yes, and then, the rest of the salary scale will remain the same.
Okay, leaving the rest of the salary schedule as is. That was seconded by Mr. Ronald Begay. Want to entertain a vote at this time? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. I think I heard 4 ayes. Is there a nay?
Nay?
Motion passes 4 ayes and 1 nay.
Item
Thank you.
C4. Item C4, discussion and possible action to approve and accept a one-step increase for TCUSD certified teachers according to the projected certified salary schedule for the SY 22-23 school year.
Madam President, I'd like to just make a couple more comments to that. One is, On our previous agenda item, we are approving a $3,044 raise for, the teachers, the previous, on this new salary schedule. And then on this one, we're increasing it one more step. So what would be the increase, the average, an additional, what,
It's about 3,800.
38, so,
Per person?
so the new total amount would be about, right about $3,800 increase, for the teachers,
No, 6,800.
38,
38.
38.
That's including both, increasing the salary scale and the,
One
and
step.
then a step,
One
all
step
of that will be
before.
38?
Yes.
3,800. So the example I used of this one teacher back in January, was their salary was at $50,973. They now, under this new agenda item we just approved, their salary increased $3,044. Now we're going to put them on another step, which will give it another, what is that? About $700.
761.
Another additional $761. So it'll bring the increase to $3,800. So I just want to put that out that's how I understand it from my review of this particular agenda item. But at the same time, I want to go back to the original schedule. This pay increase seems to apply to everybody that's bachelor. It doesn't include the AA, which I kind of find that a little bit unfair. Can they be given the cost of living increase at least? I don't know, that's my comment to that.
I think, what is the difference in the old salary scale and the new salary scale? What was the difference?
For the base,
Huh?
for the base,
Yeah,
the old one was 43, no, yeah, 43 something.
43,403.
And then
43,403,
Yes.
and then 46,447. Okay. So that's an increase of, what Mr. Bouquet said, $3,044. I think that's a pretty good raise.
That's on the previous agenda we just approved. Now this one, we're giving them an extra step. Oh, which one are you talking about? I'm sorry, by two categories here, two subject matters.
We give everybody $3,044 raise already.
Already, yeah, the previous agenda item.
Plus, we also requested that the administration look into, each of the certified and classified, education, and see if we can bring them up to speed with the salary scale. So I know that's what, one of their assignment is. So they'll be getting that increase plus an additional, there's gonna be 3 increases here.
Yeah, if you went to school and turned in your paperwork, you got moved from 15 to be 45 and a master's. Yeah, that's another raise, which is what, 1,000 something? Keep going across.
This depends on.
The 750 going down, but going across is, it looks like 1,000 or something. 1,100 it looks like. Okay.
Other comments? Ms. Johnson?
I don't have any comments.
Hearing no other comments on this item, I'd like to entertain a vote. Need a motion? Do
Madam,
we have a motion?
yes, Madam President, I'd like to make a motion on item C. Item C4, with an additional comment. I'd like to motion to accept the, item C4, discussion of possible action to approve and accept the one-step increase for the, TCUSD certified teachers according to the projected salary schedule, 22-23. But also, I would like to add that, we include some level of consideration for those who still have their AA degrees of an increase.
Do I have a second to that motion?
Mr. Begay, can you restate your motion, please?
Yes, I, motion to approve item C4 is presented, to accept and approve a one-step increase for the certified teachers. But also the added comment is to, ask administration to consider, some level, some form of increase also for the, for the people who are under the AA category on the salary scale. Because really, if we approve the one-step increase, everybody from the BA, the bachelors are basically gonna get a one-step increase and not those on the AA column. So the percentage can be it can be a small percentage increase since everybody else is getting it. Doesn't have to be equal to the, what the rest of the teachers are getting. They're getting, what, a $700 increase? Roughly, $761 increase. Maybe they get $100 increase, $200 increase.
Give them back the 100.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is an increase, yeah. I don't know, I just see, I just see a disparity in this, so I see what you're saying, okay.
I guess I need some clarification on this, because if we approve the salary schedule just before this, okay? And now you want to include some level of increase for the AA category
Yeah, because,
when there is none.
well, it's up to the board, but I see a disparity here because we have the rest of the, staff who have bachelor's degrees and on in the salary schedule are gonna be moving up one more step. So that's an additional $761 that they're getting on top of the $3,044. So I'm just asking for some form of consideration for those individuals who are still have their AA. It's either that or, they stay the same, but that's a little bit of an inequity there.
My feeling is that, they're getting a $3,000 raise and look more at the people that can move, horizontally with their college credits. Probably $100 out of them. And they got something to work for.
Any more discussion? Okay, Mr. Begay, you were making the motion on this?
Yes,
how are you going to make it?
I motion to accept item C4, with the, accepting the, one-step increase and, asking the administration to, seek, some form of consideration for the individuals that are in AA, on the AA column, to get some sort of pay increase. Doesn't have to be $100, could be a cost of living 1.5% increase for cost of living or something.
Okay, motion that has been made by Mr. Ron Miguel to approve the recommendation for item 4 to, accept the one-step increase. Is there a second to that motion? Hearing none. Motion dies. I have another motion on the floor.
My motion would be to, not approve the one step for everybody, but for those that are going to school and advancing themselves, look at those people in them categories and see if we can move them over to the right, I think. And my
Okay, Mr.
And my justification is that we are giving all teachers a $3,044 raise by raising the salary scale. And I think it's important that we did, and I voted for raising the salary scale because when we go out recruiting or we want to get new teachers, that's what they look compare us with other school districts. So I thought increase our salary scale by the $3,000. That's my motion.
Okay, so Mr. Lee Jenny's motion is to, make the step increase for those teachers that have gained the additional hours to move across on the certified teaching schedule,
Mrs. Long,
salary schedule. Yes.
I just want to remind the board that they have a policy in place for the advancement for teachers to move horizontally on the pay scale.
Okay. So then this wouldn't work.
Yeah, it will work. Just follow the policy.
So the recommendation for tonight is just to, follow policy for the step increase with certified teachers. Is
The,
that correct,
well,
Mr.
we're-
Stephen?
Madam President, the motion that was made by Mr. Lee Sinigini was to not approve, item C4, the one-step increase, because the, certified staff are getting a $3,044 raise. And he also asked that, instead of giving the one-step increase, but instead to move those individuals, that are seeking their education, to move them over horizontally. But, the administration, response to that is
Ms.
that
Tadachi, yeah,
policy.
go ahead. Ms. Tadachi, did you have something?
No, I'm just trying to listen to all of you, amending your motions. So, if not, I like, Lee's motion, and I can move forward to second his motion to not approve C4.
Okay. Motion's been made by Mr. Lee Sinajini to not approve, item 4. But to follow policy to move those teachers horizontally as demonstrated by the additional hours that they bring back to the district. And it's been seconded by Ms. Joanne Todachini. I'd like to entertain a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Any abstentions?
One abstention. And the reason for my abstention is that, I think anytime we're talking of a pay increase, it should, especially for our certified teachers, no matter what category they're in, what field, I think, some form of compensation or cost of living raise should be given to them also.
I would say, I'm sorry, my microphone went out. The reason for my abstaining from the vote is due to the fact that we've amended this agenda item in so many different ways that now it does, what we're actually requesting is not stated clearly on the agenda item. And that's the reason I abstain.
Okay, item
Thank you,
D1.
Ms. Atson.
Item D1, upcoming board meetings, regular board meeting on Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, 6 p.m.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's breaking up and I can't hear. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn at 7:57.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Gotta call for the vote. You gotta call for the
Motion
vote.
made by- All those in favor of, say aye.
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 Thank you,
Aye,
guys.
ayes, carries. Good night.
All right, good night.